Bam, ba-dam, bam. Bam, bam. Bam, ba-dam, bam. Bam, da-da-da, bam. What's up, Nerfing community? So, we've decided to kind of take this in this direction. It's going to be bi-monthly. Bi-monthly seems to be a really good pace for getting plenty of news aggregated, but also not an overwhelming amount of news aggregated. At least right now, that's the pace that I think our production pipeline can handle. And I've also decided to call it Community Nerf News, or you could call it Central Nerf News, the aggregate hub kind of being the spirit of this news format. While the format is really good, I wanted to leave the twin name explicitly, just kind of out there in the aether for Addie to return to when if she deems fit. As an added bonus, CNN is a relatively even-keeled Atlanta news network, and we're a relatively even-keeled Atlanta news person thing. Starting with the Nerf Pterodax, which is a pterodactyl pump-action springer that looks kind of anemic, in my opinion. I think that the Dino Squad line in general has really great design, really consistent language. It blends kind of the toy aspect, the really young entry level of this is a dinosaur and a Nerf blaster all into one realm of reality. That said, the other ones looked really good. This is clearly their take on a pterodactyl, and with no pricing structure available for me right now, I can just assume that this is going to be about $15, $20. It looks to be a smart AR, 4-dart. It's got 4X on the thing, and then plenty of dart storage in the stock. I think that there's gonna be some ergo stuff as an issue for me. However, I think that in the spirit of it being offered to younger foam flingers, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it or exciting about it. It's just kind of milquetoast, in my opinion. Moving on to something that isn't milquetoast, Nerf Taiwan has leaked a background blurry photo of the AccuRival 4Runner, or at least we believe this could be the AccuRival 4Runner, a 12-ball pump-action springer that its primary purpose is that it looks pretty good. The AccuRival series in general is pretty exciting. I like their design. I like the coloring on them a lot. However, the coolest thing about it is it tells us that Rival is not going away just yet. It is going to perpetuate into the future. They are going to keep kind of developing and supporting it, which is excellent for ammo. It's excellent for accessories. I can only hope that this is in some way mag-fed. That would be pretty exciting for me. And in our final Hasbro leak, we've got NDA Wholesale, which is a kind of foreign wholesaler for Nerf product, leaking what they're calling the Nerf Elite Junior line, which seems like a real step in the wrong direction for Nerf Elite. Nerf Elite, after all, having its origins in being a strictly better version of Nerf N-Strike, being now Nerf N-Strike Elite. To turn Nerf Elite Junior is a lot like saying John Senior Jr. Like, is he older? Is he younger? Who's it for? What's the deal? The blasters, for all intents and purposes, also don't look particularly exciting. While they look to be a small step above the Nerf Alpha Strike line, which is the very cheap, kind of as inexpensive as they can manufacture line, it certainly does not look to be of the polish and quality that we've come to expect from like Elite blasters, especially with Elite 2.0 getting better recently. It's interesting to see Junior take a step back, but with pricing in euros and certainly not reflective of this packaging that we're seeing here, it's too soon to tell if this is going to be super cheap entry-level product or something that's for nobody. And with Hasbro developing product the way that they have been recently, who's to say? Moving out of Hasbro and into Dart Zone land, we have Piggy receiving a blue Nexus Pro as compensation or a thank you from the brand for running the Dart Zone tournament that occurred in Singapore. We spoke about that in last 2 weeks' episode. However, there's no news or information from Piggy or the brand itself as to whether or not this is an upcoming product that might be available at like Walmart, or if this is a limited edition, special edition treat just for Piggy. I suppose time will tell. In other slightly adjacent Dart Zone news, there was an $8 Tomcat sale. And I think that the Tomcat is a brilliant blaster at its regular SRP. It's currently had its sale corrected to 40 United States dollars, at which point I think that it's still a deal, but the biggest drawback of the Tomcat was that it felt like it was more expensive than its competitors in the Striker and the Nexus kind of category. This brings its pricing in line for the holiday season to exactly where I think it needs to be, and well worth including on certain holiday wish lists. However, at $8, it was a veritable steal. And it has been confirmed that a lot of Nerfers have gotten theirs in, including myself. I just couldn't resist. I picked one up when I saw that they were $8. It came in a couple of days ago, only for me to realize I already have 2 Tomcats. I have no need for this blaster. So I'll be giving mine away to somebody in the comment section of this video down below. Leave me a kind comment, leave me some constructive criticism on the news format, and I'll pick somebody down in the comments and we'll get you a holiday Tomcat off on its way to you as a special treat from the production here at CNN. As well as a slight condolence on account of it seems very clear that multiple people ordered lots and lots of them at $8 and they sold out rather quickly at that price point. So on the off chance that you couldn't get one for $8, now you can get one for free. In a completely nepotistic include that only took 2 episodes to get into, we are running our Cyber Week sale over at foamproshop.com. It's 13% off literally everything with special pricing on some of our more premium items. We have the last of the super cores on sale with that promotion, as well as various machined parts and such. Of course, all of our 3D printed kits are over there, but we've worked very, very hard not to increase prices over the course of this year, and that will be changing going into 2023. So if there's a kit that you've been looking for and would like to have in time for the holiday season of your choice, the moment is now. The prices will literally never be better. So that's my one shill, and we'll move on into worker news. The Worker Harrier has been announced, and this thing looks awesome. Like, legitimately, this is a really cool looking product from Worker. Now, we've had really good Worker product and really flubbed Worker product in the past, but this looks to be of the same level of polish that we've come to expect from like the Nightingale and the Swift. In fact, it looks like kind of a marriage between the Nightingale and the Swift, and kind of their take on the DMR sort of like compact pump action Springer category. It is Talon specific. It's got a lot of brass hardware in it in terms of its inserts for a tighter cinch. It's coming with a new threaded barrel system so that theoretically you can change it in and out on the fly. It's of course Worker's standard injection molded ABS shell. It's going to be available in orange, green, and white. The interesting thing about that is that when it was first leaked, it was also available in a gray. The gray looked a little too tactical, but also very handsome in my opinion. So perhaps that was just a snafu. Maybe it was an editing error. Maybe it isn't in gray. Maybe the gray became the green, etc. But of the 3 colors, obviously the orange is the most toy-like, and all 3 colors are available on my buddy Luke's website, outofdarts.com, for pre-order right now at the low price, or very high price, depending on your hobby spend, of 170 United States dollars. That's a very interesting price point in that it's significantly more than most Worker blasters or shells, but slightly less than the Swift, and you would think that it would be priced more in the middle just because the Swift is like this super expensive, ultra high FPS, high-end product that's semi-modular and has a lot of plastic involved in it. Clearly, the value is in the design of the Harrier because this is a more compact, easier to ship product coming in at right around the same price. Now, I think that it's sharp. I'm looking forward to picking one up and doing a full review when they come in sometime in January. Speaking of out of darts, Luke has leaked his Herja on his website, which is a full auto flywheel, not quite fly core, but definitely fly core adjacent. It's remarkable how often things are developed in tandem like that, but it is a fully 3D printed, Talon-fed flywheel mountable. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Luke's mountables, he's done the Jolt mountable, he's done the larger barrel Jolt mountable, he's done a lot of different mountables, including various attachments for the Proton Pack. Luke really likes developing these 3D printed blaster products that, you know, you could put on other products or attach to a pick rail or something along that line. This looks just as sharp as his other stuff. I imagine that his designers did an amazing job on it. I got to see a couple of production prototypes when I was at his warehouse a few weeks ago. However, I'm talking about it now because it is up on his website at a price of $90 for the kit where you build it yourself, or $190 assembled and ready to go out of the box. I look forward to getting my hands on one soon. All across the Facebook feed, I was bombarded by different postings of a Vice video kind of documentary article thingy called Training with a Nerf Militia. And while that's a terrible title for representing our hobby, it's actually pretty good content. It features pretty exclusively the story of my buddy Captain Xavier and his compound out west, where they're doing really cool stuff. They're running these overnight games. They're capturing a lot of the spirit that I would consider to be kind of that golden age of the hobby. HVZ, where you are playing at night, you are in an immersive kind of gameplay. They actually included a lot of what I think makes the hobby special in the interviewing and the video segments, talking about a lot of the positives of our community as opposed to just the explicits of we're adults playing with toys. So while both are certainly true, it was nice to see a major news source like Vice cover us in such a flattering light. Title aside, I think that it was a really good showcase. Congratulations to Xavier. And while we're talking about the West Coast, it's important to announce that at least in theory, Ragnaroktoberfest is back on. They took a very long hiatus for the pandemic, which is no surprise given the challenges of acquiring venue space in California for the past few years. But according to JMom, the event organizer, they are back at it like a bad habit. They're going to be running the event. They're drumming up volunteers volunteers right now. They're drumming up sponsors and spaces. All details are pending at this time as they do not currently have a concrete date or venue, but what they do have is the intent. And that is the first step of getting your event off the ground. So I look forward to being back at RAG, particularly because it is a lot of fun for me going to events that I don't have to help organize. So I wish them all the best, and I will share more details when we have them from JMOM. It's that time of year again where we get to talk about the Joy of Socks charity drive. This is of course put on by longtime fan favorite nerfing squad Go Slow Taco. They win a lot of popularity contests at End War and are championed by Charles of Containment Crew. And in this instance, while socks are something that, are very rarely donated to the homeless, but are very, very much in need, especially as things get colder, there's the fun and flavorful tie-in that we use a lot of socks in the hobby, and they're not just for stunning zombies after all. On a personal level, not only does FPS contribute to this charity drive, but a number of other companies contribute gift cards, contribute product, contribute all sorts of things. The way that this works is that in loving memory of my friend Thomas, the other half of Containment Crew, we all donate to the Joy of Socks in his memory, and then afterwards you can email Go Slow Taco with a receipt for your donation. Every $10 donated goes into this hobby-based kind of raffle drive, and you have the opportunity to contribute to a great cause in the memory of a great person, and in doing so, help a bunch of people out, and maybe even win some sweet Nerf swag. That happens pretty much every year. Last year they raised a pretty serious chunk of change. This year I hope that they will do the same, and next year we'll keep it going. In seemingly tangential Nerf news, it is my somber honor to inform the community that might not already be aware of the passing of Liam Mattingly. He's also known as Vikinger. We all kind of have Nerf names in the hobby. This one is particularly tragic and particularly unexpected. And while we, of course, want to give as much respect and privacy to the family as they have asked for at this time, there is a donation set up in Liam's name at RIT for a scholarship fund. And this is particularly relevant because Liam was the president of RIT HVZ, which is incredibly relevant in hobby news because it would have been impossible to run End War this year without him. And it feels like End War was very, very recent. Because it was very, very recent, I worked with Liam very closely on a personal level to bring End War to RIT, to have one that far up in the Northeast, to use a campus and a community that brings me a lot of joy. And it's just, frankly, it's unbelievable that Liam has passed. I mean, what else can I say about him other than he was brilliant? He was young, he was 23 years old, he was in great health, and he was a terrific guy. A brilliant designer in the context of the hobby, and his contributions will live on through his Thingiverse page, through all of the parts that he's designed and the work that he did as an intern at Game Face Blasters. Every time you pick up a Game Face dart or a Chevron dart, as he so affectionately referred to them, I hope that on some level you think of Liam and what a wonderful community member he was, and we should all aspire to that level of community involvement, achievement, and legacy. Just a really, really great guy, and captain of the winning team of the Foam Pro Tour this year. So, in whatever aspect it brings those that knew him comfort, I have a ton of professional respect for him, and couldn't imagine this year without him. Can't imagine next year without him. And in the capacity that there are things to accomplish within this hobby, I think that it is safe to say that he did it all, right? I mean, he really...
One in there.
That was tough. So to bring us to a conclusion, we're going to do two segments at the end of these, one of which will be the mod of the week, a fan favorite and very familiar, something that I really enjoy in the hobby. This week we have a Raptor Strike modulus integration from Grimm. I just think this is terrific. Not a lot of people doing old school integrations. Really great colors on this. The paint is color shifting, which means that you're never going to get the same photo twice of it. It's got bits and bobs of other blasters that I'll let you kind of masticate on and decide if you can find out what they are. And if you'd like to to submit your own mod of the week, and you think that it would be in the lofty ranks of integrations with LED ammo indicators and all sorts of integrated goodies, you can always head on over to my Discord, where I have a channel for mod of the week submissions. I will also have a channel for submissions for our next segment, where I will introduce my lovable co-host. Jinx of the Tiny Influencer Sweater, what is your wisdom?
Advanced warfare is underrated.
Alright guys, so we're calling this segment Dog of the Week, and Jinx is going to introduce our first ever Dog of the Week in the hobby. What do we got, Jinx?
This week's dog of the week is Odin.
Alright, so Jinx would like you to meet Odin. Odin is of course Ryan of Silver Fox Industries' dog. He's a terrific dog. He's a little bit of a chunker, but he's very much an appropriately named Viking-esque wolf dog, and I think he's terrific. He sheds a whole bunch, but you know, none of his fur seems to get in the way of Silver Fox Industries' impeccable print quality. Jinx, what do you think of Odin for our first ever Dog of the Week?
Odin is an absolute unit and is goated. With the sauce.
Well said. All right, with that said, that's our episode 1 of Community Nerf News. I'm your host, Drac, and it was a pleasure having you. We'll see you again in 2 weeks with more happenings and murrings and rumblings within our hobby space, industry space, and all of the above spaces. I'll see you guys next time. A news network, and we're a relatively even queue. Why can't I do this? What is going on? This is clearly their take. Nope.